Hey guys, and welcome back to the recap video for Zone Search. And in this video we will be taking a look at January 2026. So we will start the test on December 31st of 2025. So let me put this correctly. And this does mean that it actually starts on the 1st of January, and we run this test until February 1st. And it actually ends on January 31st. So don't worry about that. So I obviously downloaded the tick data from dukascopy. So the quality is 100%. And I will be not showing you any of the inputs because this video will be put on public. So yeah, I find it very important that not all of these settings are public for everyone to see, but only for the users that actually own Zone Search. So when we take a brief moment at the results of January for 2026, this was not a good month at all, which is completely normal. We've seen it happen multiple times in the backtest that there are losing months, also losing months in a row. And January was no exception. It's pretty much the same as January of 2025, which was also a losing month. But overall, January is not always losing. So it's just unlucky that 2 months in a row or 2 times in a row that January is unprofitable. So yeah, overall, you will just see that most pairs will lose money in this test, which once again is completely normal. You cannot avoid it with any strategy. Any strategy will have losing periods, and it will have great periods and break-even periods, and this month was no exception. So we are running trirex Zone Search 1.17, which is the latest version. Right here you can see that I have selected the downloaded data on USD JPY Plus, which is the raw version. We're running it on the 1 minute time frame, and we're running a custom period, and we're just running January. So the delay is 100 milliseconds, which is pretty much, well, it's identical to mine, but this doesn't really matter. And the modeling quality is obviously every tick based on real ticks. If you see, this is just a brief warning, if you see anyone running a backtest on anything else than every tick based on real ticks, you can simply not trust the data. Only every tick based on real ticks is valid data. If someone runs it on every tick, the data is not legit. So if you see anyone running it, anything else than this, don't believe it. We're running a 10,000 euro account with a 1 to 500 leverage. This does not really matter. We can also put it to 1 to 50, but for the test, I always put it to 1 to 500. And we're running a risk of 100 euro per trade. So if we make 200 euro at the end of the month, that simply means we made 2%. So what I will be doing is every time I will make this screen small. Then I will load in the correct settings. So let me put this to the side. So we're starting with USD JPY setup 1, and then I will start it, and yeah, we can just see the results. Simple as that. So let me close this all down. This was the slower part of the video, and now we will go through this as fast as possible. So when we take a look at USD JPY 1, we can see that we only had a couple of trades. We had a win rate of actually 62%, so we won way more than we lost. But we were pretty much break even at the end of the month. I personally am not running USD JPY 1, so this was not the case for me. So let's go back, and we are going to select the second setup of USD JPY 2. Go back to the graph, make this larger, and USD JPY 2 is pretty much a summary of all of the USD JPY pairs. So what we saw is that the first week was just losing trades. Then at the end of the week, we made one pretty big win, which wasn't giant on USD JPY 2, but on another pair, I pretty much made all of the losses back. And then for the last, let's just say 2 weeks, we just lost. We were in profit pretty much every single day. Well, not every single day, but half of the time. And then the trade hit the stop loss because of some unfortunate news events. So yeah, that was pretty much a minus 3% for USD JPY 2. Let's go on and take a look at USD JPY 3. And for this pair, it's pretty much the same. So losing, we made pretty much all of that back in 1 to 2 trades. And then for the last 2 weeks, we just lost, which is pretty hard for your psychology because no one wants to lose for 2 weeks in a row. But it's nothing exceptional, which is just something we can see in the back tests. It does lose multiple times in a row, also in the back test. So same for USD/JPY4. It's pretty much identical. Well, not identical, but the chart looks the same. So losing, made it back, losing. So let's take a look at my personal favorite pair, which is USD/JPY 5.2. And I do not think this one is profitable at all. Yeah, as we can see, pretty much the same. So backtest, minus 1.4%. Yeah, also losing. And that is what we will probably see for every pair. Maybe Euro/JPY is not unprofitable. I am really curious what this pair or setup looks like, because this one has not been performing well at all for the last months. But we can actually see that it performed pretty nice. It actually made a tiny bit amount of money. The win rate was obviously not good, but that's the same for, well, also the full back test. It's 19%, but it's not terrible. I personally am not running this pair because it's too, it goes on a too long of a losing streak. This one is also one of my favorite pairs or setups, USD/JPY 7. And yeah, same thing, lost money, easy as that. Nothing we can really talk about. So that's pretty much it for USD/JPY. So let's move on to GBP/USD, which has 2 different setups we can test. I am running the second one, so let's start with obviously the first one. And let's see what this one has done in January 2026. So let's just say this one's around break even. Yeah, it's a tiny bit amount of profit, so 0.5%. But yeah, it's not looking too great as well. Let's take a look at the second setup, which I personally am running. And this one is around break even. Small loss. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, so let's move on to Euro/USD, which has only one setup, which I am also running, not with a big amount of risk, with a smaller amount of risk compared to USD/JPY. And this one is pretty much the same thing, break even. Didn't make money, didn't lose money. Could be a bit worse, could be a bit better, because backtests are like 99% identical. When I compare my live results with the backtest, sometimes it's a bit better, sometimes it's a bit worse. But it's not a huge difference. So let's move on to Australian dollar JPY now. Here we go. I am also running this setup. Let's take a look if it will start. There we go. All right, so as well, unprofitable, minus 1%. It's not a terrible month. The thing is that most of the pairs didn't perform well and had a lot of losses. And the only reason it wasn't like extremely terrible is because it had like 1 or 2 very good days. All right. Let's move on to Euro/JPY setup 1, which is the setup I'm also running. We have 3 different setups for Euro/JPY. Wow, this one performed also really poorly. I did not expect this, honestly, because I thought that this one would make a pretty nice amount of money. But in the end, this one made or lost minus 3.6%. So that's that for the first one. Let's move on to the second Euro/JPY setup. I'm sorry, I already started the test, but same thing, minus 4%. And now we're gonna take a look at the third Euro/JPY setup. Where is that one? Here you go. Same thing, pretty much just lost money. It was in profit a couple of times, but it ended with a loss. So I think we tested everything right now except for gold, which I am never looking again pretty much. And that's because I think there's many other pairs that perform way better. But obviously we should test it, which I have not done for the last couple of months. So I will also update the backtest pretty soon. But when we take a look at gold, it's just going sideways. Break even as well. So sideways, and then it made the losses it made here, it made it back. Yeah, so just when we take a look moment at this month overall, January, it was not good. I think the best way to look at it is by going to USD JPY, select January, and then we're gonna select just, let's just go for the 5.2 setup, which is my favorite setup. And we will just start the test. And this is pretty much a summary of what it looked like. So we started off bad, we made it back with like 2 good trades, and then the rest of the month was also just losses. Once again, this is also something we see in the backtest. When we just take a look at the data we have, there are months in a row where you just lose money. It's unavoidable. When you are trading manually, it will be pretty tough because you need to make your own decisions. But with the EA, you just let the bot do its thing. It's just important that you are running sensible risk. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the recap of February 2026.